Coming live from Tipperary, Ireland is our guest tonight. Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today you'll be learning about spirits, about the outside world, and our connection with them. And before I move forward, may I request you to subscribe, follow, like, and comment on whichever platform you're watching or listening to this show on. And today we have Sandie Byrne, Irish psychic medium podcast host. Welcome to the show, Sandie.
Well, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Welcome with all the spirit that you have got, because we'll be talking about, spirits and connecting with them. So, Sandie, the best way to understand about the world that you know better, and we lesser mortals know about that world peripherally. In India, we are much more connected, spiritually to this world, but still everybody has their own understanding of these things. Now, I want to understand through you about this whole world, about life, afterlife, and the spirits that surround us, protect us many a times. That when you were somewhere at the borders of Germany as a 17-year-old, there was a spirit which protected you. Can you tell us exactly what spirits are, what this world is all about through that incident? And then we'll come to the topic, connecting with the spirit world with Sandie Byrne.
Sure. Well, when I was 17, as you say, I was living and working in Germany, and I was out for a run one afternoon. And can I say, I've always connected with spirit all my life, but like any teen, I didn't want to be different. Every teen wants to be the same as, their peers. So I pushed them away for a long time. But then when I was out running one day, I was in the middle of nowhere. Where I lived, it was very, very rural. So as I was running along, I heard this voice shouting at me to run. And like anybody else, I thought, well, there's somebody here making fun of me. Okay. But there was nobody around, and I was looking around and there was nobody there. So I kept running, and another minute later, I heard the same voice again, run, run, run. And then there was nobody there. I was standing in the middle of the road looking around, and there was nobody there. So a couple of seconds later, a car came by. Now, this was like a really quiet road. There was very few cars that went by. And I can still see it in my mind. You see something happening in slow motion. And this small car went by. There was 5 guys in this car, and the music was really loud. And they drove past. They were gone. It was fine. There was nobody else there. So I ran another bit, and then I heard this, run as fast as you can. Okay, beep. So I did. I ran into the vineyard and hid between 2 vines of grapes. It was the Weinstrasse, as they call it in Germany. It's where they make all the wine. And I hid in there, and I thought, oh, I'm so glad that nobody can see me, because I feel really, really stupid right now, And within about 30 seconds, the car came back, the same car with the 5 guys in, and they got out, and they all started looking. They spread out and they started looking around for me. So I was in hiding, and I could hear this ta-thong, ta-thong, ta-thong. All you could hear is your heart beating when you're scared. And luckily enough, they spent about 20 minutes or so looking, and one of the guys was about 2 meters from where I was hiding when they all decided, right, she's gone. And they got back into their car and they drove off. So I suppose as a 17-year-old, honestly, I didn't think too much about it. It was years later when I read in a magazine about a girl in the United States, and she'd had a similar experience whereby she had taken a lift off of somebody. And when they stopped for something to eat and she went to use the ladies' room, she heard a voice telling her to climb out the window and run. And she ignored it. She didn't listen at all. And with the result that she was kept by this man in his basement for 8 years. So I suppose, teenagers don't think of the bad things that can happen in this world. They think, it'll never happen to me. So it was a spirit voice. It was somebody that was helping me to make sure that nothing bad happened. And that's what spirits are. They're here to guide us. They're here to help us. They're not here to haunt us. They're not here to murder us. They're not here to make life difficult for us. They are always here to help us. So what I say to people, when you see a bird in the sky, right? If you were to look up and you saw a bird, so you would see the bird flying, but you wouldn't see its wings. You would just see the body of the bird. So I'm not sure, are we still live? Because I've lost you. But I'll go on anyway. Maybe I'm the one that's cut off. We've been plagued by technical issues, I'm afraid, on this one. So let's see if we're still live. Okay, so I think I'm still here. So let's stay talking. Okay, so if you're looking into the sky and you see a bird flying, okay, you will see the body of the bird, but you won't see the wings of the bird, okay, because they're flapping really, really quickly in order to keep the bird in the air. And this is exactly what it's like with spirit, okay? If you imagine spirit being like the wings of a bird, so they're flapping all of the time, okay? Well, the spirits aren't flapping, but they're vibrating, they're moving, they move faster, they move at a different rate than we move at. So they move much faster. So we don't see them with the naked eye. It doesn't mean that they're not there, okay? So the spirit is the part of us that's inside our body, okay? So if you imagine us here on earth, that it's like a play that we're in, okay? So at the end of a play, if you're an actor in a play, you will take off your costume, okay? And the real you is then left. And that is exactly what it's like when we talk about spirit, okay? So when we're finished on this earthly world, we'll take off our costume, which is this physical body. But it's the real us, the spirit of us, the soul of us, the energy of us, the bit that's left afterwards. That's the real us. And that's the part that lives on after the physical body dies. Okay. So I'm hoping this is making sense. Can you put a comment in the chat box if you can still hear me? Because I seem to have lost him. But if you're watching, can you just say hey in the chat box to let me know that you're listening? And ask any questions that you want to ask in the chat box below. Okay. Because I can see myself, but I've lost AJ. I'm not sure where he's gone. So to me, this all sounds really logical and really proper. And because I live it and breathe it every day, I don't always think of the questions that people want to ask. So please do put your questions in the chat box below. So I have been connected with spirits since I was a child. Okay. So I don't remember a time where I didn't connect with spirit. Now, yes, we can talk about, I come from a family of readers. I come, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, and so on and so forth, and back through the generations. They all had a connection with spirit, but that doesn't make me any more connected than anybody else. And just as AJ has said, in India, people are very connected spiritually. And I've come to realize that spiritual to people means something different. You could be spiritual as in that you believe in a religion. Okay, it doesn't matter, Buddhism, Hinduism, Muslim, Catholicism, whatever it is. Okay, so that's one type of spiritualism. And then, as mediums, we talk about another type of spiritualism. We talk about believing in the afterlife. Okay, believing that as spirits that we still continue on in a way that we can still interact and still connect with the people on earth. And that's basically what I do. Okay, is I connect your loved ones with you while you're still here and they're over there. So I try to say to people, not to think of someone as dead. Okay, yes, the physical body, okay, can't last forever, and it doesn't last forever. A snake sheds its skin, so there's lots of animals that, maybe lose parts of them, but who they are is still there. And that's the same with spirit. So when they move to their spirit existence out of their body, they will still be there and they can still connect to us, but they communicate in a different way. Okay. So what I say is, imagine a medium as a translator. So I connect with spirit, okay? And they tell me or give to me the communication that they want you to have. And then I will translate it and give it to you. So it's the very same as if someone came into the room and was speaking Latin or Greek or, whatever, Russian, and I had to translate it. I don't speak all those language, but I do speak the language of spirit. Okay. So I can translate when spirit give me communication, I can translate that into a way that you can understand. Okay. And that's why people come to me. That's what a medium is. A medium is the medium or the middle person between the spirit world and the earth world. Okay, so just think of a medium as a translator. And every medium communicates differently. So when we talk about mediums, we talk about the 7 clairs of mediumship, okay? And they're all the different ways that spirits can communicate. So when you see mediums advertising themselves, and they tend to say something like they're clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, clairguscient, whatever it might be, they're telling you the different ways that they can connect with spirit. So it would be the very same as if a translator was saying to you, I'm a translator and I translate from German, or I'm a translator and I translate from Latin or whatever. AJ, you're back. What happened?
Yes, yes. I think it is only my spirits, spirited spirit that brought me back. Otherwise, you see, earlier on, while talking of spirits, earlier on, there was a problem with the mic. I could not hear you, and it has never happened before.
Yes.
And then I alerted you that,
It's
there can be some power backup issues and all. And it happened. It rarely happens. It happened today, and still we are on power backup, so it may again try to recalibrate to the grid. So let's see how it goes, but till now I am here. If it happens again, I will be back. This time, I'm telling you, Sandie, this is the first time the system took so long to be back. Otherwise, maximum it is within a minute or maximum 2 minutes that one is back. But thank you so much for holding on,
well, that's
and holding on to the on the fort for both of us, and I'm
I've
sure I'll
been
listen to all that.
I've been talking away.
No,
No
that is
bother.
great.
So I
That's
was
great.
just
Carry on, and then I will start asking about the other questions.
no problem. So what I was talking about was the 7 clairs of mediumship. They're the different ways that spirit can connect with us from the spirit world. So it's like, it would be like saying I'm a translator and I speak German, or I'm a translator and I speak, Greek or whatever. Those clairs tell you how the spirit communicates. So for example, one that's often talked about is clairvoyance. Okay, we've all heard this saying that she's a clairvoyant or he's a clairvoyant, whatever. So if you break it down, clair means clear and voyance means seeing. So clairvoyance means clear seeing. So if someone says that they're a clairvoyant medium, that means they're a medium who sees spirit. Clairaudient is clear hearing. That's a medium who hears spirit. Clairsentience is clear feeling. So that's a medium who feels the energy of spirit. And it's important, if you want to connect with your loved ones, to choose a medium that best represents their personality. I have an aunt, for example, in spirit, God rest her soul, and she hated pictures being taken of her. She hated photographs. She hated video. She just hated it. So I know that if I want to connect with her, I'm not going to go to a medium who can see her, because she's not likely to show herself the way she was when she passed. So, but I know that she could have talked for Ireland. She would talk to anybody. There was no such thing as a stranger in her world. So, if I wanted to connect with her, I would go to see a medium who can hear her, because she'll talk all night. Okay, so it's choosing a medium that best represents the personality of your loved one. Okay, so that's the easiest way. And I think I've lost AJ again. I'm not sure. Can you hear me, AJ? I'll stay talking another while. He seems to be having some problem with the electricity supply or something. So if, a lot of people say to me that, maybe they went to see a medium once and they didn't get a connection or whatever. So that's the first thing that you would look for if you were going to see a medium. You would look for a medium that best represents the personality of your loved one when they were alive. And your loved one in spirit, they're not going to change their personality just because they've passed. Okay, so if they were somebody that was really quiet and shy in life, they're going to come through in the same way, because if they came through all outgoing and chatty, then you wouldn't recognize them. You would say, no, that's not my granny, or that's not my mother, or whatever, because she wouldn't have talked to you because you're a stranger. So they're going to come through in the way that you would recognize them. So, for example, so somebody maybe who's lost a baby, maybe there's been a stillbirth or a cot death or something, that person is always going to imagine their child as a baby. It doesn't matter if they go to see a medium after 30 or 40 years, they will always think of their loved one as a baby. So therefore, when their loved one comes through, they're going to come through as a baby, because that's the way that they have always been thought of. If you were 5 years old when you died, your family are always going to think of you as 5 years old. So if you come through as a 35-year-old in the reading, they're going to say, no, that's not my baby, because my baby was only 5 when he died. Okay, so you always have to, they're always going to come through in a way that you would recognize. You shouldn't not recognize the spirit. And also, always choose a medium that you feel a connection with. Okay, there's no point in going to a medium. Like I always say to people, go and look at my YouTube, go and look at my Facebook, have a look at who I am, see if you like me, see if you feel a connection. Because the worst thing that could happen is that the first time that you see a medium is the day that they're reading for you. Because if that were to happen, then you're less likely to get a reading. Okay, because you might not like the medium, and then when you go in, you're like, oh my god, I don't know who I'm going to be meeting, I'm very nervous, and that's going to affect the
Usual.
energy for the reading.
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing I would say to you is always choose a medium that best represents your loved one, and choose a medium that you feel a connection with. AJ, I'm going to let you ask your questions before you get cut off again.
Yes, I did go out again, and I don't know. Means I've never faced this before. I don't know, but can you tell us, Sandy, that is it only an incident? Is it just or see? I don't really understand what is this disturbance. Is it just incidental, or is it that there is some force which wants this discussion, or which there is force which does not want this discussion? Means I'm joking, but at the same time I'm just trying to understand it from a very scholar of this particular sort of thing.
I don't believe that any spirit wouldn't want us to talk. One of the jobs that they're always asking, mediums, people like me, to do is to promote the fact that they're there for us and that they're helpful and that they're not evil and all of this, So, I mean, there may be a bit of kinetic energy perhaps around, because, maybe your spirits know that, you're connecting with me, because well, I've been online. I'm not familiar with StreamYard, and that might be part of it. I don't know. But I've been online all day and I haven't had this. But, there's been twice or three times over the years where, yes, it's absolutely not happened, where I just couldn't connect online with somebody. And generally it's always been because there's a reason for it. But because I'm not actually reading for you today, I can't see why that would happen. But there is a younger male around you, AJ, a younger man, and I feel like there was something with his head, like there was a suddenness about his passing, like there was a heavy weight on his head. Does that make sense to you? You didn't lose a brother, or your dad didn't pass young, did he?
Can you repeat this, Sandy? This part?
Yeah, I'm just saying that I do feel an energy around you, but it's all to do with my head. It's like I feel a weight on my head, like there was some kind of a head injury or some condition with someone's head. Maybe there was a stroke, a brain tumor, or something like this. But I feel like there's a male that passed. I want to say too young, like he was only maybe in his 50s when he passed. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense, but I don't remember anybody in my family having passed at a young age as this.
Younger
But
age.
but but very
But what?
recently, very recently, I lost two of my uncles within 2 months, and they were a bit older than that. But yes, both of them. Then my aunts, they passed away, and it has left a void in the family some sort, because uh, how do I explain that? But in terms of,
No, but did one of your uncles have something wrong with his head? Was there like a brain tumor or a stroke or a bleed on the brain? There's an awful pressure on my head with one of these men.
could be I need to talk to them, because I'm away
Mm.
from family since quite long, and I
Ah,
got the
okay.
news only of the death, and then I did not ask too many questions because they were also a bit, on old. So
Yeah.
maybe not too old, but I did not ask. I will certainly ask now.
Definitely ask and let me know, because I do want to say that, like, it is a gentleman, and I definitely want to say that there was some health issue or some change in this man's circumstances around the age of 54. So my
Okay,
feeling would be that this gentleman, that there would have been either some illness with him or maybe some distance from the family from his mid 50s.
right, right. I
Okay.
will, I will certainly ask on this. Now, coming to the spirits part itself, Sandy, is that uh, are there spirits around who take care of us? Means, are there such things as spirits, like it happened in Germany, or is it intuition? How would you tell people that it is not just beyond, just their own voice that is coming from within, but it is something else, perhaps trying to give a message, which one, if they try, they can understand it and follow it,
Mhm.
if it is within their means of understanding, like you took that action so many years back and it saved your life.
Sure. It really is. I mean, when you're starting out, when you're getting connected to your spirituality, there is no hard and fast rule, okay, that you could say this will tell you this or that will tell you that. It really is trial and error. But when you talk about your intuition, something that what we would have called in my younger days our gut instinct, okay, that is more of a feeling. Okay, it's a feeling inside, and it normally comes from your solar plexus or your gut. Whereas when you are getting a sign from a spirit, okay, it generally comes in your mind. You hear it, or you get and it's like you get a notification. You just know that something's going to happen. Okay, it comes to you all of a sudden. Whereas your intuition tends to build up, okay, over time. So it really is a matter of trial and error about connecting with your spirituality. And the only way to know the difference, and this is what I tell all my students because I teach mediumship and spirituality as well. So the first thing I say to them is keep a journal, okay? Because we get signs in every different way. We get a lot of signs in our dreams, Okay, so it's important that when you wake up in the morning, you take 5 minutes just to write down a few bullet points of what you can remember from your dreams. Okay, or if you feel like something's going to happen, write it down. Okay, and it's only through writing things down and seeing the outcome of what comes up for you, then you'll know, was it something I felt, or was it something that was given to me by spirit, maybe in a dream or by another medium, like hearing it or having a vision of it happening. Okay,
Right,
so there's no hard and fast rule. It really is just practice.
right. Now,
Does that make
Sandy,
sense?
yes, yes, perfectly, it makes sense. Now, Sandy, a lot of people understand that one can communicate with the spirits, especially their
Yeah,
loved ones. And
yeah,
sometimes, in a rare case, perhaps, when you feel that you have wronged somebody, and now that the person is gone, or you have a burden, not in the wrong sense, but you have a burden about saying things to somebody, and then something else happens to the other person, and you never get a chance to say sorry. We are human
yeah,
beings. We are infallible. We are fallible and weak. We never are able
yeah,
to tell things in front of people, and we have so much to say when they are not around us. So
sure.
people understand that they can communicate with them, and they need
Hmm.
a medium like you. That's what they call is a psychic. Is that right?
Yeah. So I'll explain to you in a minute the difference between a psychic and medium. But you're totally right. Anybody can communicate with spirit because your loved ones can hear you talking. It's only for them to give the communication back. That's when you need a medium. Okay, because
Okay.
we're talking every day. Spirit can hear us. They understand the physical voice, but it's to get the communication back that we need a medium. So when we're talking about someone passing over, if we've had an argument, for example, with our dad, and then God forbid he might pass away, before we get a chance to make it up to him, this is one thing you should never worry about, because we tend to focus on 1 minute or one misspoken word. What about all the years before that? What about all the happy times? So we don't take that negativity, we don't take these mortal disagreements with us to the spirit world. We become more understanding and we see the reality of somebody. So it's like when we're here on earth, we see everything through a lens. It's like when you have glasses on, you're seeing everything through that lens, the lens of being, human, the lens of having the imperfections in our personalities. Okay, we've got all those lenses. But when we go back to the spirit world, those lenses are taken off. And we see everybody just as pure souls. We return to our pure soul, and we see everybody else as a pure soul. So we don't take any of those mortal fights with us, and we definitely shouldn't concentrate on it. And so many of us do, and not even necessarily an argument with somebody before they passed, but maybe how they passed. Were they murdered? Did they die by suicide? Was there a road traffic accident? And we think of them forever in that one little cocoon of that frozen moment in time. But what about all the other years that they lived? Okay, so there's many more happy memories than there are negative memories. So I would say to people, definitely don't hold on to those negative memories. Think of something that you enjoyed with them, maybe a birthday party when you were a child, or your wedding, or your that person's birthday, or something that you shared together, and concentrate on that instead, because that's exactly what they will be concentrating on, not the negative.
Okay, but still people have the desire to, even for positive things, that they have that
Yeah,
desire to connect with the loved ones. Now, how do they
sure.
do that? How do you help them here?
So as I was saying earlier, I know that you were cut off for this, but a medium is just like a translator. Okay,
Okay.
so when spirit come, they give me information, and all I have to do is translate that. So they might give me information, they might show me a vision of something, they might give me a thought of something, I might hear something from them or whatever, and I have to interpret that into a message for the person who came to me. Okay. And, when you're talking about, the negative things that we're carrying with us, this, 9 out of 10 times, this will be why somebody comes, because they'll say, oh, I didn't get to take her out, or we had that crossed words the week before she passed, or whatever. And when the spirit comes through, and they might just say to me, we had an argument the Thursday before I died, and that's all she's been thinking about since I left. Will you tell her that I'm not thinking about that? I'm thinking about the time that she stole my shoes to go to the dance with her boyfriend. So they're always trying to lighten the load, okay, and tell us about something positive that happened, because they want you to know that they've moved on. And that's what people come for. They come for the closure. Okay.
Right.
So,
Right.
there's lots of positive stuff that they'll talk about, and there's negative stuff that they'll talk about. I totally get it. But it's closure that people come for. And as I said to you, you can say whatever you like to your loved ones in spirit. They can hear you at any time. If you imagine both of you like walkie-talkies, okay? So if you talk into your walkie-talkie here, which is literally just put the thought out to the universe, oh, I miss you, Dad, or I miss you, Ma'am, or I miss you, Auntie. And in a split second, they're there with you and say, did you call me? What's wrong? What do you need? Are you okay? And they're there with you, and they can hear every word that you're saying to them. Okay? But I get it. People can't hear them back. And that's when they need to come. It's to get the connection back, to get the closure. Does that make sense?
Right. So right. How does this connection work? Suppose anyone who comes to you wants to connect with somebody in particular.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you, what do they need to tell you? And then how do you exactly connect with the same spirit? There are millions of spirits in this whole universe.
Yep.
How do
So,
you do that?
well, first of all, they don't need to tell me anything. I don't want to know anything about somebody before I connect. Okay, you book online, but you can call yourself Mickey Mouse. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, call yourself whatever you like. So when you come, and all readings are online, so it's just like this. But your spirit, your loved ones, will not use my energy to connect with you. They will use your energy. Okay,
Okay.
I'm a stranger. They have no connection to me. So you've heard of the aura, which is the energy that's around your body.
Right.
That's where your spirits connect with you. Okay, so you told me you have some uncles, okay, that passed not too long ago. So if you imagine, whenever they want to connect with you, they will come into your aura. So literally, when I meet with somebody to connect with their loved ones, I don't literally go out there and connect with their loved ones. I connect with them. My aura connects with their aura. Now, it could be that I see something in their aura. It could be that I feel something in their aura. Okay, I'm getting it from what I see. I'm getting it from the vibrations of their voice. I'm getting it in many different ways. But I have to connect with them in order to get the right loved ones. Because as you say, sometimes I'm in a reading and a stranger might pop in. Okay, it's often happened. So say if I have one reading this morning and one reading this afternoon. So the person for the reading this afternoon, their loved one is all morning getting ready, and they're at home, they're saying, look, I'm meeting with Sandie at 3:00 today. Don't be late. I want you to talk about this and this and this and this and this. And they get excited and they get impatient and they come early. And sometimes they'll come in on top of me when, I'm doing another reading. So it can happen that a random person will come in during your reading. But generally, if I just connect and stick with the energy of the person that I'm talking to, I can get the right person for them.
Right. Now, tell us, Sandie, why do loved ones, after they are gone, they watch us from the spirit world? Now, when they are pure souls, why do they still are so connected with the world, which is so much, so much of things around? It's all about Maya, as they call it in Hindi, in Indian context.
Okay. So, the reason that they want to stay connected with us is a few of them. One is because they love us, okay? They were connected to us in life. They're part of our soul group, so they still love us. But on a spiritual level, there's a consequence to everything that we do. We're here to learn a lesson. We're here to be the best spiritual beings that we can be. Okay. And it's how we
Okay.
treat people and how we live our life, that's important. So, in order to see what we've done right and what we've done wrong, we have to stay connected after our physical death. Okay. So, for example, I don't know if you have children or not, right? I have two children, two boys. So, someday my time will come and I'll return to the spirit world. But in order to see whether or not I lived my life in a right way, one of the main markers for me would be how my children have progressed in life. Did I shout at them when they were young? Are they traumatized as adults? Did they decide not to have children themselves because I was such a bad mother? So they have to see the consequences of all the decisions that they made and the life that they lived. Okay. So they can only do that by remaining connected to us. And also, like I said, they want to continue their relationship. Okay. I haven't lost my husband. Thankfully, he's here. But, someday one of us will go first. But I want to continue the relationship with him, whether I'm here or whether I'm there. So I'm going to stay connected with him until we're both back together again. So it's the continuation of love, but also seeing the consequences of all the decisions that you made in life. Okay. So it's part of our spiritual development to know how our decisions, how they resonated or how they affected the lives of everybody around us, because it's only through seeing the consequences of what we did that we actually grow spiritually.
Okay, okay. So it
Okay.
means the uh, the equation for the spirit is not over. In spite, despite living this world, they still need to know exactly what their actions have been and how their actions have resulted into whatever it is, and they keep on seeing it
Yes.
till then. So till when does it
Abs-
happen? When does the spirit feel that their work is over of looking after their loved ones or overseeing their loved ones, and also their consequence of their good work as well as not so good work? When does it end for them?
well, like a parent, it never ends, does it? From the day your child is born, you never stop worrying about them or trying to make sure that everything's okay for them. I don't believe that it ever ends, because I believe that we're part of a soul group. So every time we're reincarnated and we come back with the same people. They may be in different, different roles. So somebody maybe who's my sister in this lifetime might be my mother in another lifetime, or my brother in another lifetime. So we come back in different roles, but we're with the same people. So over and over again, we don't learn every single lesson that we need to learn in one single lifetime. We have to come back again and again. So, for example, in order for me to develop spiritually, I need to know every side of every situation. So, I may come here and live a lifetime and end up, being murdered. Okay. Then in another lifetime, I will be the murderer. Then in another lifetime, I would have to be the loved one of the person that was murdered. And then in another lifetime, I would have to be the loved one of the murderer. So we have to see life and experience life from every angle in order to make ourselves beneficial. And, until we get to the level, which takes thousands of years, as you can imagine, we ourselves can be spirit guides, but we can only get there because of our experiences over and over again. So I can't give you an end date, I'm afraid, AJ. It's going to take some
No, no,
time.
it's fine. I am listening. Somewhere I related to the Gita, all the wisdom of the sages of India, and I'm trying to relate that with what you are saying, the way you are saying. The only difference I find here is that you are speaking in English. The rest is so much assimilation. See, this is a knowledge, and this knowledge
Mm,
belongs to the to humanity, to the universe. And
Yeah,
it does
absolutely.
not, as you say, language cannot be barrier in, in talking to spirits or communicating with anybody. In real life also it's like that. You don't have any language barrier in communicating if you really communicate from your heart. So it
Exactly.
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I connected with animals. Like I've given people messages from their cats or their dogs that have passed, and when I'm working in different countries, you're always going to have people that didn't speak English as their language when they were alive, but it doesn't stop them connecting because, as you say, the language is love. And actually, one of my great beliefs is about the 7 steps of eternity. Okay. And there's a book that was written on this by a guy called Stephen Turoff. And I do believe that it actually comes from Hinduism. I don't know if you're familiar with Hinduism, but
Uh,
it's that, that there is 7 different levels of life. And we on the earth plane, we live on what is the third level from the bottom. Okay. And the 2 levels below us are what people would perceive to be hell if they believe in hell. Okay. And the 4 levels above us are different levels of what people perceive to be heaven. Okay. Are you familiar with this
yes,
analogy?
I am from India, so obviously being a Hindu, we understand these
You
things.
are a
In
Hindu.
fact,
Okay.
yes, yes, and
Okay, cool.
that is okay. So that is why I was relating it with Gita. But as
Mm,
such, as I said, that this is wisdom, this is knowledge, this belongs to everyone, and everybody has
I
an equal
agree.
right to
Yeah.
anybody. As I said, as you see, you
And
are quoting in the name of Hinduism, but Hinduism is a way of life. And if I understand things correctly, that is a thing we pray to our ancestors every year, and that is known as Pitru Paksh. When there is a
okay.
particular period during which you don't celebrate in the same manner as you would on any other day. You remember your ancestors, you pray to them, you feed them by feeding animals, different sort of things. And as they say that three, if I understand, if I remember correctly, okay, to all the people around, if I am wrong, please forgive me, because so they say that 3 generations of your ancestors, they are looking at you, they are looking, taking care of you from wherever they are, and that place is between, this our earth, and somewhere in between heaven.
Yeah.
And that is where you keep on praying for their moksha, their mukti, and then
Yeah.
so that they can get free from this whole cycle of birth and death. That is where I said that I'm just listening to you and trying to
Mm.
assimilate. I am not looking at the rough edges. I'm only looking at,
No.
it's like when two rivers meet, there is only one small blip of the place where, but you see, we belong to a place called Sangam in Allahabad, where 3 rivers met. One river is not there, and that is where the most holy place is born. That's the most holy place that exists. So in the same way, knowledge is like that. And when you hear things like that, you just try to listen to it and assimilate with whatever you know, whatever little you know, and then you try to add to it. So I fully get it. I'm sure a lot of people
Yeah.
will understand it and know it.
Sure. And it's the
Okay.
same, like I'm Catholic, okay? So, but we have a similar, but we just have different names for it, So, like the in between place between earth and heaven is called purgatory, and then we've got the levels below. But, we have a belief that, if you're bad here, that you go to hell, but you don't really come out of it, that you will spend eternity, which personally I haven't come across that. That's not the experience of spirit, because it's possible to atone for anything, whether you do it in the afterlife or you come back in reincarnation and do it
Right.
that way.
Right.
I just
Right,
see we have
Sandy. In fact, yeah,
some questions here.
yes, 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 yes. Sh- Shweta, she is asking that she has been close to her grandfather and he passed last year. And after 2 days, the kitchen lights started blinking for around 10 to 15 minutes, and then the next day
Mhm.
the light was working fine. What would she understand of this? What would you tell her?
We call it kinetic energy. So when you cross over to the spirit world, okay, you become energy again. You don't have the physical body. So, but it takes time to be able to control the energy. They have to learn how to control it. So when they're coming near you or near the electrical appliances, their kinetic energy can affect that, without them meaning to affect it. So it to me that just means that your loved one was around you, but that he wasn't able to control the energy. And then when he learned to control it better, he came back and it didn't affect the lights. You hear things like, the lights flickering, the television switching off, the kettle boiling, all of these electrical appliances, but it's just kinetic energy. There's nobody there flicking the light switch. It's just energy.
Okay. Then what about my grandfather? See, I was very, very close to my grandfather, but
Hmm.
it's been many years now, around more than 2 decades. But he never came into my dreams. He did not pass me anything, any message, nothing. But I always feel that I am well protected. Now, why is it so? People say that when you love somebody, when you lose them, they come into your dreams. He has never demanded anything, and he does not tell me anything even today. But why do I
Okay.
still feel that he was the closest person that I have ever known or I will ever know? Because what he was, a lot of that is within me, more than even my parents.
Okay. So, first of all, they don't all come in through the dreams. Okay. Some people do get a lot of messages in dreams, some people don't. Have you ever asked them a question?
Pardon?
Have you ever asked him a question?
No, I haven't asked him. I don't know why. Means I have never asked. I think I am perhaps, from very childhood, I've been so self sufficient or self way of looking at myself as that very differently that I've never asked. Even when I pray, I have rarely asked except for one or two occasions when life has been indeed very, very tough. And then perhaps I just tell them that, listen, just take care of a bit of things. But beyond that, I have never asked for things in specific, though some people say that you should. I don't know exactly what to do, but I feel that I am a blessed person. I've got a lot more than perhaps anybody would.
But you're over here and you're saying to me, he's never sent me a sign. What if your granddad is over there saying, he never sent me a sign? What if he's waiting for a sign from you that you want communication? You know,
I don't.
because
Okay.
sometimes I don't know your granddad, I'm not connecting with him, but maybe he was the kind of person that was always there for people if they asked for something. Maybe he wasn't the kind of person that would stick his nose into your business without being invited. So
Yes,
you
he
have
never
to
did
think
that.
about
He
your
never did that. He was a
so why
self-made
would he
man.
so why would he do it now just because he's crossed over? So what you need to do is you need to give him a sign that you're ready for a sign. So you say to him, Granddad, I want a sign that you're around. You know, could you, I don't know, could you leave me a feather? Could you move this pen? They're not going to do it immediately. You have to get, I always say to people, give them 24 or 48 hours to give you a sign. But say, just give me a sign, that you're okay, that it's all going to be fine. I lost my grandmother. Well, I call her my grandmother. She was actually my husband's grandmother, but I've known her since I was 18 years old because we're together since we were teenagers. And she passed away in July of 2021. And we'd often spoke about these signs because she lost her husband, years before and whatever. And she always said jokingly, I'll leave you a feather, you know? So the night that she passed, we were all with her because she had been ill. She was 91 years old. And, within 5 minutes of her passing, I was heading out to the front door because we were waiting. The priest was going to come up to give her, to bless her and whatever. And I just opened the door to the hallway, and right in the center of the hallway was this feather. And if you knew how meticulous she was about her house, it wasn't that someone had dragged this in on their feet. This feather had just appeared, and I still have it. And I just think, if you tell them that you need a sign, they will find a way to send you a sign. But if your granddad wasn't someone who stuck his nose in other people's business or assumed that he was doing the right thing by sticking his nose into someone's business, then he's going to wait for you to ask. It's one thing for you to say, Granddad, can you make sure my son is okay on his first day at school? Will you go to school with him and look out for him? He can do that, but there's no clear way of for him to show you that he's there with your son. Okay, so it's slightly different in that you ask him for a specific sign. Tell him you want to see a robin or an eagle or a snake or something, I don't know, whatever you have in India, and say to him, I want to see one, at the east window of the house or something. Be specific, and then give him 48 hours to get this sign to you. Now, don't ask him for loads of money. Ask something, that's within his power to do. Okay, so don't ask him to rob a bank and get the money to you or anything. Okay, make it something that he can actually do.
Right, right. But isn't it that you are trying to get them, give them more work, inspire when they're not in any way anymore in this world? Means it's like you are increasing their burden.
No, we are their burden. Remember, we spoke about them,
Okay,
wanting to see the consequences of their action.
okay,
Okay, this is
okay.
part of it. And, if we take, for example, what I was saying about, going to school with your son and making sure that he's okay. I mean, a grandchild is part of the consequences of your granddad's actions, so that's part of his spiritual development. And he loves you still. He wants to make sure that everything is okay around you. So why would he not do this for you? Okay. So
Okay.
he would definitely, be there.
Right, right, Sandy. I know it's been very long with a lot of what called disturbances in between, or maybe some heavenly interruptions, but or spirited
We got there in the end.
interruptions. Yeah, but this side we have got a high spirited person like me, so we're trying to do things that we
Not at all.
intended to do and discussing this. So talking about the future now, how is it that a person like you has got this whole understanding of things, and not only just you, within the family itself, and several generations of your family have this understanding of spirits and the future and all that stuff. How is it that only some people have it and not anybody else? Who chooses such things to give you that power?
I don't have any power. I don't have any special gift. We probably understand it more because we embraced it. I'm no different than, the next person. Everybody has the ability to communicate with and get communication from spirit, to communicate with their intuition, their angels, whatever it might be. It's just that maybe, they haven't embraced it. Maybe it was something their family didn't believe in. Maybe they were raised within a religion that didn't believe it, whatever. Okay. But it's something that everybody is capable of. So I always put it like this. Okay. Everybody can sing. Okay. They can. You don't want to hear everybody sing because not everybody's good at it. Okay.
Right, right, right.
However, I could go and take classes and become better at singing. Okay. And you could go and take classes and learn what the signs are, What is it you're feeling? What does it mean? Why does this happen? Why do you always dream about, a yellow car or whatever? Okay. So it's just about learning to know what your signs are. Everybody's got their own language. And we do that within families, don't we? Especially within, married couples. We all have our own little language for different things that's going on, or different ways of doing things. And we're going to continue that on, in the spirit life. We still have our own way of connecting with people. So I might be shown a yellow car in a dream and it might mean something to me. And then you might be shown a yellow car in a dream and it might mean something completely different. So we have to think within, the environment of our own loved ones. Okay. Let me give you a quick example. And I know that I'm taking up all your time, but I went to a show myself years ago to see a medium on stage, right? And this medium came out and she was talking about, she said, I've got someone's son here. He was 19 years old when he died. He crashed his scooter. He had head injuries. He was studying this. He has whatever brothers and sisters, and they lived here. And she gave all this information and nobody stood up in the auditorium. Nobody. And she kept going on and giving more and more and more information, right? Nobody stood up. And in the end, she said, I'm going to move on from this guy if nobody wants to talk to him. And at that moment, right, there was about maybe 2,000 people in the auditorium. And this feather came floating down, right, in the middle of the audience from, like, the ceiling must have been like about 20 foot high. It was like a proper auditorium. And this feather just came floating down within the light. And she said, look, there's a feather. She said, this feather relates to somebody. And there was a particular color on the feather. And with that, a hand went up and the girl said, I think it might be my brother trying to speak to my mother. And she said, well, where's your mother? And she said, she's here beside me, but she's too shy to stand up. And the medium said to her, stand up and let us see you. When the mother stood up, she had a coat on that had a feather collar in the colors of the feather that had come down from the ceiling. That was a sign specifically for her because it related to something that she was wearing at that particular moment. So signs are different for everybody. I know
Okay.
another girl, she's in the States, and she kept finding dollar notes and she couldn't figure out why. But in the States, a note is called a bill, and her brother Bill had died. So he kept sending her $1 and $5 bills. Okay, so every sign is particular to a person. So that was a long-winded way of answering your question. But my answer is that everybody has the ability to communicate with spirits. They just haven't tried it.
Right, right, Kate. Sorry, right, Sandy. There is a question from Kate. She is asking that are you doing general readings, please? What does that mean?
Okay, she wants to know, am I giving people readings right now? So the answer to that would be no, because we got delayed and I actually have another podcast in a few minutes, so I won't have time. I actually
Okay,
have it scheduled, if you don't mind me saying it. So it's currently 6:30 here. So in 4.5 hours from right now, I am doing a live session, and you can go to my
okay.
website and register for that. And I will be doing live readings, but not right now, unfortunately.
Right, right. So, Kate, if you're listening to her, you have a chance some hours from now.
Yeah,
So you can do that.
yeah,
But very quickly, Sandy, let me ask you one last question. Is that
sure.
predicting the future? But there's so much to talk. I will certainly have
I know.
one more session, much more, spirited
Sure.
session where spirits will be fully aligned. All spirits will be fully aligned with what we are trying to do. Okay. And that we'll have. But as of today, I just want to understand from you about predicting the future. Now, psychics have that special power. What can you predict and how different is it than astrological predictions?
Okay, so again, it's not a power, it's an ability, and it's just reading your intuition. So again, I would read somebody's energy. So I'm reading their
Okay.
energy from their aura. Okay. And how it differs from like astrology or numerology is astrology and numerology and those things, they tell you the best times to do something. Okay, they'll
Okay.
tell you maybe this year is a great year for your family. Spend time with your family, maybe have a baby if you're looking to have a baby or whatever. Next year, concentrate on your career or whatever. Okay. So they'll tell you when you should be doing something. Whereas the psychic reading tells you exactly how things are going to turn out. So, we'll tell you, this relationship that you're in, is it going to last? Are you in the right career for you? All of these things. So there is, yes, a slight crossover. But if you're looking for the accurate, if you like, up to the minute information, that would be the psychic reading.
Okay. And you say you look at the energy of people and then you can make predictions according to that. But
Yeah.
is it that a person who is introvert, a bit subdued, or you can say just a very demure sort of a person, does that mean that uh, that they don't have enough energy for a good prediction?
No, no, it's nothing to do with your outward personality. It's
Okay.
your energy. But it does have to do with what I was saying at the beginning, is about choosing someone that you feel a connection with. Because
Okay.
again, if you book a reading with someone that you haven't met and then you don't like them or you don't connect with them, then your energy won't open. You'll sit there with your arms folded going, here we go. But if it's somebody that you feel like, oh my God, look at her, she's got great energy, I really feel like I like her, I want to chat with her, then you're going to come in and you're going to be all open, full of chat. And I don't mean telling me about what's going on. I just mean opening your energy, allowing yourself to be read, rather than sitting there with your arms crossed, your legs crossed, and all closed. It's all about energy, but not about personality.
Right. Right. Sandy, you have been voted Ireland's medium the year for the past 2 years. Now,
Mm-hmm.
is it something that this is a official sort of a uh, recognition? What is it about?
So there's there's so many different, I don't think that it makes me any better a medium than anybody else. I think it matters, and especially over the last 2 years, about how much you've put yourself out there. And during the pandemic, I started off, I went live every day for 18
Yeah,
months. And
sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt, Sandy. Why I ask this question is that in the Western world, if there is an understanding of these things, that there is a world beyond our world, and then it makes much more closer and better understanding between the East and the West. Earlier
Yeah,
on, a lot of people used to think that India was a land of snake charmers and that all that spirit and all that stuff. But as humanity progresses, they find that there is so much of scientific stuff. You don't look at reasons behind everything with the lens that you have in present. You may not be able to see everything in that same light, isn't it? It's like seeing
yeah,
spirits. So that is the
yeah.
type. That is why I asked. Your capability do not grow bigger or grow lesser because of recognitions or non-recognitions. It is something. The power of the universe and the understanding of the humankind is something that makes you what you are. So that's why I asked this question. So please answer it.
No, and I agree. And that's why I said to you, I don't believe that, it doesn't mean that I'm better of a medium than anybody. Okay, because we all have the same abilities. I personally, I just feel that I got that because, during the pandemic, I was live all the time. I was doing readings for people. I was giving angel messages every day, to keep people going. And it was those daily live sessions that turned into the podcast, which has been going for the past year. And I think it was just because I was out there giving something back, understanding what people were going through. I organized online sessions for people to meet up and discuss their grief. Because, during the pandemic, people were dying still. People were going through grief, but there was no sessions. There was no grief sessions. There was no counseling sessions. There was nothing going on. So, I was opening up online rooms for all of this to happen. So, I think that's why it was just that I was out there more. I was more visible over the last couple of years, giving more back. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a better medium. If you can communicate, you can communicate. I agree with you. It doesn't, you don't become maybe better a communicator. Now, I will say, with regard to mediumship, we can all communicate with spirits, but I have to agree and say that not everybody has the right personality to be dealing with grieving people. Not
Right,
everybody is able to give a message in a sympathetic manner. So that's
right,
also really important, when you're dealing with grieving people.
right. That's why you have specialists even in hospitals and other places where actually they
Yes,
know that they are trained in dealing with such situations. Yes, yes.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, right, Sandy. I know you have to go. So my last question is, about not me, but about the show itself. A lot of people say that my show, the best thing that they like about my show is the energy that it brings out. Now, everybody has the same equipment, everybody has the same better equipment. I don't have any equipment. I've not put any money. My mic has conked off. I'm using the laptop mic. I'm using whatever StreamYard offers me. But energy is
Yep.
something that you try to bring through your discussions.
Yeah.
From your understanding of things, how would you like to add anything to their observations, or what is your observation of the energy that my show or me uh, come out overall?
Well,
You
I
don't
mean,
have to praise.
first of all have to.
You don't have to praise
Do
me
I do
because
do I have to be nice? No, but if
no,
you look
no,
at it
not
in
at
a
all, not
realistic,
at all.
if you look at
Yeah,
it in a realistic way, okay, look at all the experts that you have on talking about loads of different subjects. Okay, so you're not concentrating on any one group of people. There's so many different kinds of people that can get so much value from what you do, and it's free. Okay, so how could something that you're doing for other people not have a positive energy? Of course it does. And people can pick it up or they can put it down. They might not have any interest in what I'm talking about, but tomorrow you might have somebody that's completely going to fill my universe. Okay, so I think it's an amazing thing that you're doing, and you're giving of your time. Anybody that gives something back, deserves a medal, in my opinion. So I would say to you, as long as you can and as long as you have the love for what you do, keep doing it, because it's so important. The amount of people out there, you might be sometimes their only company in the whole day. So, never disappoint and just keep doing what you're doing. It's so important.
yes, Sandy. What's the strange part that you rightly put it when you are speaking this? I never tell anybody that I'm trying to make any difference to anybody's life, because I enjoy it so much. And if at all I'm trying to do, it is just me and my heart which knows what I'm trying to do because of my journalism background. But so many people have
Yeah.
told me, you know, that you are making a difference to the world and to their lives. I don't know how come they have suddenly they start using that language or those words, which sometimes surprises me a lot. Maybe it is not about me, but perhaps it is about how they feel about it, about the whole thing. And that actually makes me feel uh, not only about the show. See, this I was trained as a journalist. I worked in some with some of
Hmm.
the top people and top places, so I try and bring all that I can within my discussions. But the part I'm trying to tell you is that you see that bringing value to that part of their worlds, and they understanding things which I never speak about, is something, so much of similarity. And
Yeah.
the message that, I don't know what spirits convey that message, but I get it better now. you know I really get it better.
Well, I think, that you're underselling yourself, because you say, I trained as a journalist. Okay. So, if you think, wouldn't it be great to know how this works, or, what's the thinking behind this? You have an idea of where you can go and you can find this information. But Shabna, who lives 1,000 miles away from you, might want to know the same stuff, but she might not know where to find it. And she
Right.
probably doesn't have time because she might have 6 young children. And then when she finally gets them all to bed, she might turn on your show and listen to it and get so much value for that from that. So I think you're being very, I think you're underselling yourself in the importance of what you do. It's a grassroots level of introducing people to the outside world in a language that they can understand. And I think it's important, and I would say to keep doing what you're doing because you're doing something right.
Yeah. Perhaps now I'm beginning to understand all the dots that journalism brought me through, and I'm finding that fulfillment in what I am doing today. Perhaps
And isn't
connected
that
to
amazing?
journalism.
Both.
Yeah. I'm telling you, means I'm telling you what I feel today. That perhaps all
Sure.
those years of training is culminating into something, something what actually
Yeah.
means something to somebody else.
Sure.
So we will keep on talking. We will talk more, and there will be
Absolutely.
and a lot of spirits will be there in attendance. So we will certainly do that.
Of
So
course.
thank you so much, Sandy,
Absolutely.
for your
It
for
was
your
my
time, and
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
thank you, and thank you to all the spirits for their attendance. And uh, uh, with this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you once again.